on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. You know who it is by now,
Jimothy.
So ladies and gents, we are back with the long awaited Exosister list that I was going to give to you guys earlier on in, well, last week now, but I actually went to a regional on Saturday the 14th, depending on when you're watching this video, 14th of January, and I did take Exosisters, so I made a few amendments to my list. But before we get into the list, ladies and gents, I wanted to just give you guys a tournament report. So I actually finished X3 in the tournament, and there was 7 rounds. And believe it or not, I feel like it was somewhat of a good showing. The thing that surprised me the most was the fact that I did not play against a lot of tier elements Ishizu, if you get what I'm saying. I played against quite the range of decks, which kind of surprised me. And as I was walking around the room before and after my games, I could just see loads and loads of rogue, which was very, very shocking, to be honest. Obviously, the top tables was littered with Ishizu tier elements, but in terms of its overall representation in this specific event, I don't think it was actually that high, so compared to some of the other events, basically. So I'm not too sure. I think players are a little bit tired of the meta and they're just deciding to just do whatever. But in terms of my matchups, I played against Fluundereeze, I played against Runic Sprite, I have to check this by the way. Played against Dinomorphia, Madolche, Ishizu, Ishizu tier elements, another Runic Sprite, as well as Fluundereeze. So a little bit of variance in terms of what I played against. It weren't just all Ishizu tier elements, and obviously against Ishizu tier, this deck is just designed to beat that, and it was just a blowout against that deck. But then I lost to Dinomorphia. Like it's literally, there's literally, I don't even know what to say. Like the fact that I even played that deck just blew me away. Seeing it at a regional, and at that point, that person was, I think he was X1. So I don't actually know where he finished. I think he did pretty well, to be honest. So playing Dinomorphia, it just goes to show, ladies and gents, you can actually play whatever you like. But anyway, you've had the tournament report. Shout out to the judges. I said I was going to do this. Judges were absolutely fantastic. Tournament ran smooth once it got going. Yeah, and all in all, it was a good day. But anyway, I'm not going to waste no more time talking about my experience. I'm going to get straight into the list. So catch you guys in a moment. Peace. Okay, ladies and gents, so here is the list. Getting straight into it, we ran Triple Martha, as you would definitely expect. I love searching this card. It just does so much for the deck, and I do believe that there's going to be some more Exosister support down the line somewhere. Maybe one more monster that does something with the graveyard potentially, so you might be able to trigger Martha, because at the moment Martha's only the one that can really impact going into an opponent's board, because you can trigger Martha whenever you're ready, basically. So if you've got DD Crow in hand, Call by the Grave, anything like that, you can literally trigger Martha yourself, which is not something that can be said about the other Exosisters. But anyway, carrying on. Triple Ellis, as you would expect. I think these ratios are pretty standard from what I understand. This is just what I would have played anyway, just through testing. Triple Stella, again, just another solid name, solid sister, allows for extension onto the field. We played the double Exosister Sophia as well as the one Irene. Now, when I first started building this deck, I thought to myself, you know what, I'm not doing what everybody else is doing. I'm going to play whatever I like. I'm going to play as many names as I want, because I want to see them. I want to be able to resolve them. But after testing and after drawing this in one of my games, it was so frustrating just not being able to do anything, basically. So obviously I dropped it down to 1. The double Sophia does sometimes conflict with prosperity, but it doesn't happen often enough for it to be a problem, and you need prosperity in this list, ladies and gents. Spoiler alert. Mainly because you need to see cards. Your engine's pretty small and compact, so you can run a lot of text in this deck, which is something that I like. But having any more names, or any more names that don't offer extension, is just not the way to go forward. So I left it at that, pretty much a standard ratio. Next for the monster hand traps, the one, the only game ender, turn ender, dimension shifter. I actually resolved this quite a few times today, and it's more or less a blowout. I didn't actually get to capitalize as much as I would have liked to off it. I think I played Sprite, yeah, I mentioned Sprite, and I didn't get to capitalize as much as I would have liked to, but it's such a blowout, like it's crazy. And I had a conversation with a couple of my friends actually. Shout out to Fabs. And we was talking about Dimension Shifter and how it's a balanced card in terms of its design. It's a blowout. It's definitely unfair, but it's definitely a balanced card because you see these past turn 1, it's a dead card in your hand, ladies and gents. I'm not even gonna lie. So yeah, triple Dimension Shifter is what it is. Probably worth doing its own video, to be honest, and I might even do something like that later on this week. So stay tuned for that. The other monster hand traps we played was Triple Ash. And I'm glad I put this in as well because, believe it or not, ladies and gents, Rogue is making a resurgence. Like I was saying earlier, like, I think people are just so tired of the format. They're just like, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna play exactly what I want. I mean, there was even a virtual world at the regional, which I thought was absolutely crazy. And he was clapping people. It wasn't even like he was just memeing. He was actually like winning games against like T-Elemented Shizu. Like, I think it's the Kaliga lock, ladies and gents. Just put you on your back. You literally can't do much against it, regardless if you're tier elements or not. So it's very interesting. So I thought the inclusion of Ash would definitely help. Onto the spells, played 4 Exosister spells, with 3 of them being packs. What more can you say about this card? This card's crazy. Quick play, searchable, special summon, search spells, monsters, traps. It's crazy. It's silly. Do like it. And I played the 1 armament. Now I didn't play the continuous spell. I had been testing it, but I felt like so many things had to go right for you to be able to use it. Yes, there's a potential for you to control when you XYZ, but it's not guaranteed. Whereas armament is more of a guarantee, especially if you set it with just a monster on field or you've got Vadis in your back row. You can definitely be able to XYZ summon on your opponent's turn, and this is what helped me just absolutely destroy Ishizu here. Just because I think I got debarriered in one of the games, and I was like, oh, that's fine. I'll just set my Vadis, set my armament. And then pass turn, and then when they proceeded to do stuff, I just flipped my Vadis, and then when it was doing a few things, obviously my Exosister monsters triggered, and then an armament into Magnifica, which was just crazy, which means I just literally just wiped out their whole field, which was a nice feeling. So yeah, definitely interesting. I would consider playing a continuous spell, but I feel like armament's a lot better in my opinion. That's just me. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Next on for the generic spells, triple Pot of Prosperity. I managed to get my playset in time, and this card is mandatory in this deck. As you'll see in the extra, I could play a couple of extra names of the Exosisters just so I can get rid of it off my Prosperity. You need it. Sometimes I dig 6, sometimes I dig 3, depends where I'm at in the game state, but just having that flexibility to look for a card is just absolutely crazy. Next up, we played 1 Field Spell Searcher, aka Terraforming. I got an old school one. It says Magic card on it, crazy. And we've got, whoops, put that around for you guys. Double Necro Valley. So this was obviously interchangeable. When you see my side deck, you'll see why. But yeah, Double Necro Valley just shuts down tier. Shuts down a lot of the graveyards, to be honest. Sprite find it difficult to play through. Well, say difficult. It slows down their plays. They can still play for it because Sprite can actually run Shifter, which means that they just can kind of disregard the graveyard. Obviously their Alpha won't resolve as well, but it's still a blowout card. And then I run the obvious Dark Rune no more. I didn't want to go with 3, mainly because I just want a brick on it, but I seen it when I needed to, and I've got the 3rd one on this side, so it kind of worked out in that respect. Onto the traps. We only played 4 traps. Some people max out on them. I didn't want to do that, mainly because I know that I won't be able to resolve multiple Exosister Vadis, despite it being a very, very powerful card. So I went for the 2. Just being able to special summon 2 from the deck is crazy. So yeah, even if it doesn't actually end up triggering their effects, you can actually just sometimes hold this if your opponent doesn't manage to get rid of it. Obviously, if the target, whatever, you're gonna have to resolve it. But a lot of the times, I would have some kind of field presence, maybe Magnifica, maybe even just like a Michaelis, just because I got stopped somewhat. And I just held my Vadis until my opponent's turn, or till my turn started, basically. So I had a bit more extension. So very, very powerful card. And I played the double Returnia. Returnia is crazy. Oh my days. My opponent read this probably about 5 times, and he was like, what's going on here? I said, well, I'm going to banish one of your cards by targeting it. And he was like, fine. Then I was like, I'm going to activate its secondary effect to banish another card, non-targeting. Any response? My opponent was like, just no, and just wipe their field out. And then obviously with Magnifica as well as Michaelis banished, it's like 4 cards banished on one turn. It's silly. You literally can't play through that at times. And then the final trap that, well, one of the final traps that I played was Infinite Impermanence, super strong, what more needs to be said. As well as the main deck evenly matched. This is absolute blowout. I resolved Dark Ruler No More and evenly matched on a Sprite opponent and just cleared his field. It was so unfair, but it is what it is. That's life. And that's the list, ladies and gents. Well, the main deck at least. Even 40, just because I want some consistency. So I went with a 40. Kind of panned out well, to be honest. So yeah, I would definitely recommend just sticking to the 40. Onto the extra deck, we have triple Michaelis. Again, nothing needs to be said. You can banish one of Prosperity. You probably don't always go into the third one, but if you're resolving multiple Vadises, you probably will, to be honest, especially with Armament in the deck as well. So yeah, definitely a powerful card. You definitely want to max out on it just for the flexibility. Like I said, it's just Prosperity food if you don't actually resolve its effect. Well, if you don't need to use the third one, basically. I also played triple Caspatel. You only need 2. Realistically, I was a bit stumped because I sorted my extra deck out in the morning, so I was like, oh, I don't know what to use, but I thought, you know what, I'll throw the 3 of them in. You probably could get away with 2 and have a little bit more variance in your extra deck, but I went with the 3 again just for Prosperity food because I wanted to play Exosisters basically, and Caspatel helps me to do that, obviously, as well as being able to search a monster. Played double Asophiel as well as the 1 Jabrine. Again, I banished probably one of each of the Exosisters for Prosperity, so yeah, it did pan out. Also the double Magnifica, ladies and gents. This card's crazy. It's I swear, like it's crazy that the deck's this old now and people are still not really understanding what it should be doing or what it does do. So Magnifica just being able to banish non-targeting just whenever it wants and then tag out is just silly. So is what it is. As well as the double attack, my opponent said, oh, this card's already attacked once. So I was like, yeah, I know, you can attack twice. And he was like, no way, can it? I was like, yeah. As well as Jabrine as well. I've actually OTK'd with Jabrine. Just these 2 alone is enough to do damage, and once you've banished like 3 or 4 cards off their field, then more times than not going to be left with an open field, so you can just go in with Jabrine and Magnifica. For that respect, I might even put Jabrine up to 2, but we'll see. Maybe drop a Caspatel and put an extra Jabrine in, but we'll see. Next up, we had, just for the non-engine cards, we had 1 Liner, the Light Charmer. I didn't go into this. This got banished off Prosp as well. It's just there for, I think I got Rivalry locked when I was testing, so I was like, you know what, I need to just sort this out. So I put Liner in just to be able to kind of like facilitate some plays. 1 Baguska, didn't make it, to be honest. Dweller, didn't make Dweller, as well as Zeus. I did make Zeus. After I Dark Rulered somebody, I just wiped his board with Zeus, and that was all she wrote. And then the funniest thing was I had Martha in hand, so I then just went, obviously, Exosister combo. So it's a nice feeling because Martha's the only thing that locks your Martha, and I believe Vadis might lock you. So yeah, I managed to get 2 4s on field, go into an Exosister, and then basically just wipe their field, which was a nice feeling. It was a nice feeling. And just to finish off, ladies and gents, I'm going to go and show you my side deck. Now, I don't know if this side deck was correct or not, but we played Triple Judgment. People tend to side it back row removal, especially with Exosister, because it is a control deck. You are going to have some form of back row if you've played your turn correctly. So just having a Judgment really does help. Yeah. I also put in Triple Vela. This was for Fluenderies and it actually paid off because I played quite like I said earlier, I played a couple of Fluenderies in a tournament, and just being able to side out shift that and put in Effect Vela just to kind of affect their board, because they're chain blocking like crazy. So the Effect Vela does help, along with the Infinite Impermanence, so it really does make a difference. Triple Tactics Talents. It does and it doesn't pay off. It's a bit weird in the deck with Prosperity, but it can be used alongside Prosperity. Obviously you can't use its draw effect, but the hand shuffle and the take is definitely something that is valued. So yeah, triple Prosperity. I also ran triple Lightning Storm, so these are a lot of like power spells basically, just to be able to effectively go second. I've got a few going second cards in the main, but just being able to side into these, knowing that you're going to be going second, does help. So triple lightning storm just to do stuff basically, as well as the final Dark Ruler no more and the Harpy's Feather Duster. I did think to myself, I like to have some kind of main deck removal, and I always state this. Fortunately, I'm running evenly matched in the main, so it just clears spells and traps anyway. But if I didn't have evenly matched in, or felt like, or I came up against Flunder, which evenly matched doesn't do as much as you would like it to do against Flunder, you can just put in the Harpy's Feather Duster just to get rid of what's it called? The trap that Flunderies plays. I can't remember it, as well as their field spell. So yeah. And that's the list, ladies and gents. Like I said, very enjoyable experience. I probably will be playing this deck again. I'm not too sure when. If I get to locals again this week, I'll definitely play this deck. Oh yeah, missed that one card. Zombie World. Yeah, so that was the other card that I can search off terraforming. Just to stop Flunder, as well as it does kind of mess up tiers as well. So yeah, one Zombie World. But yeah, like I was saying, very interesting deck. I do recommend playing it. It does struggle against Rogue, like I was saying earlier, just because it's so geared to taking down the tier 1 meta threat. It does struggle against some of the other more obscure strategies, which is what I came up against, funnily enough, at a regional, might I add. So that kind of flummoxed me, but it is what it is. But anyway, ladies and gents, we find ourselves at the end of another video. As always, if you do like this content, you know what to do by now. Hit that like button, share, subscribe, all of that beautiful good stuff, and I will definitely see you guys on the next video. Hope you enjoyed. Peace.